In this short video, I will talk about the Thomas-Kilmann 5 conflict handling modes on how we promote interaction and better outcomes with regard to conflict in different situations and how to apply it. So Thomas-Kilmann is a model that was founded in 1975, and the theory would suggest that we are capable of handling conflict in a variety of different ways. And so looking at the y-axis of assertiveness being low assertiveness at the bottom and high assertiveness at the top, and the x-axis cooperativeness having low cooperativeness at the bottom, and at the far right we have high levels of cooperativeness. And so we look at these 5 particular conflict handling modes. If we are low on assertiveness and we're low on cooperating, we are avoiding. If we're high on cooperativeness and we're low on assertiveness, we might be accommodating. If we're high on assertiveness and low on competing, or on cooperativeness, then we might be competing. If we're somewhere in the middle on both, we might be compromising. And when we have high cooperativeness and high assertiveness, we're collaborating. So let me dig into this a little more and provide some particular definitions that may be helpful. So thinking about that diagram, competing is when we are assertive with low cooperation, and power is a really important driver. Oftentimes, competing is considered a win-lose scenario because someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. Collaborating includes high levels of assertiveness and cooperation to balance the needs of others and your own needs, whereby we both have the opportunity to get what we want, which is a win-win scenario. Somewhere in the middle, it's compromising, where there's an intermediate state that requires some assertiveness and cooperation. So both of us get something that we want, but oftentimes this is considered a lose-lose because we had to give and take too much. So this is sort of the fundamentals of democracy, where we often compromise to get to a solution. Avoiding is we're not cooperative and we're unassertive, which displays withdrawal. I'm just going to take my ball and go home. I'm not going to participate because I am not interested, nor am I going to cooperate, nor am I going to be assertive. And last but not least is accommodating. This is where we're unassertive, yet we're highly cooperative. So we've basically neglected our own personal needs so that someone else can get what they desired. So thinking about this in context, when you are in a scenario, think about situations where your mode, what is the mode that you place on, where do you sit on a particular topic of conflict, and where is the mode of the person that you're having a conflict with. And so this really helps you think about how to use this model in context. So are we aligned? Are we both seeking a compromise? Do we both want an outcome here, or are we in a situation where we're misaligned and I may be collaborating and my colleague is competing? And so therefore we have a gap on how we're handling our conflict, and it needs to be resolved, or we need to do something different. So what can we do to appreciate where we're coming from so we can work through our conflict? And so this is really the essence of how you might be able to apply this in a situation where you're trying to understand how to get through a conflict where it emerges. And there's no right answer here. Sometimes we need to collaborate, sometimes we need to compromise, sometimes we need to walk away. But oftentimes we're competing, or oftentimes we're finding ourselves giving a little so that somebody else can get what they want. So consider an example where you're aligned or misaligned, and what was the outcome? And reflect on that as you think about this Thomas-Kilmann model of avoiding, accommodating, compromising, competing, and collaborating. And then just a final thought, pro tip here. When you are in a conflict, oftentimes there's only 2 routes you can take, and some variation or gradation of that. If the situation's bad enough and the conflict is untenable and intolerable, the best way to resolve the conflict is to just leave the situation. So oftentimes we would be avoiding. Other ways might require you to have an enhanced approach on how you reframe a situation. And so how do you think about it differently, or maybe help someone else see a different perspective so you can resolve the issue through more engagement and dialogue? Hopefully the Thomas-Kilmann 5 conflict handling modes will help you navigate conflict more productively. Thank you.